Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Can you all see and hear me? Let me see if there's anyone out there watching me. I've gone out a bit early. Hopefully, everyone's popped up in the chat. I've seen no one watching at the moment, so that concerns me. Oh, look at that. It's massively going up to 55. I'm going to read this out from the screen. Restore Britain, welcome Restore Britain members of Central Devon. Thank you for supporting Restore Britain, Restore England, Restore Devon, and I am delighted to welcome you to the Central Devon branch. I'm delighted to say that we have our first meeting arranged, which will be a chance for us to make plans for how we want to work in this area. This is a big constituency, and it is, right? So we have tried to pick somewhere fairly central. Future meetings will be around the area, so do let us know if you have a suggestion for a venue. The first branch meeting will be Sunday, the 26th of April, 2026, at Chagford Jubilee Hall. Doors open 7 p.m. for a 7:30 start. So they're doing exactly what I normally do, which is tell people to get there at 7, because when we don't want people walking in and you've already started. So I'll be there. I've spoke to a few of our members in Devon, and they're putting it in their diary. It's in my diary. This is not about the English Constitution Party. It isn't about the English Constitution Society. It isn't about me per se, but this is to go along there and show our support for the restoration of Devon and the restoration of England. And in the course of doing so, and especially restoring the English Constitution, you will restore Britain. Unfortunately, Scotland, and again, I'm going to run you a little, just to make sure you all understand, I'm not having a pop at the Scots, but seeing as it's 8 o'clock, I'm going to show you something else. So don't forget, 5b5, if you can see and hear me, when I say see what's on the screen at the moment, Restore Britain, and me talking in the background. People must understand what is actually going on here. So as many people as we can get to Central Devon would be fantastic. I have looked at this constituency, and I was going to stand in this constituency. I've already given a commitment that I would not stand against Restore Britain, or we would not stand against Restore Britain, but we need to see what they're saying at their meetings. If they are all what I would describe as extreme unionists, if they will not listen at all to the issues of the English, people can make their own minds up. But if you don't make reference to the English, these people are not going to get very far. You've got a pent up group of people that are not represented in that British Parliament, right? And again, my main issue will be talking about people and say the British Nationality Act 1948-1981 needs to be abolished, not repealed, and there needs to be a change to the Judges' Oath or Oath Act, right? So I want to make sure everyone's clear on that. What I'm going to do now is transfer you to a letter I've received, or an email that I've received as feedback, and it's a readout. So I want everyone to listen to this, just to make sure you're all aware of what I'm talking about. Can you all see and hear me? Tell me if you can see and hear this. Hello. This evening, I am going to be talking about a number of issues. But before I do that, I want to read out to everyone to make sure you all fully understand that I've got no issue with the Scots, the Welsh, or the Irish. I have got an issue with the Acts of Union for various reasons. But I'm going to read out a feedback and a contact message from the English Constitution Society on our website. And I want you to listen carefully to what this Scot has said. Dear Mr. Moore and members of the English Constitution Society, I am a Protestant Scotsman living in London, and I want to express my wholehearted alignment with the principles of your society sets out so clearly. In fact, over the past 2 decades, I have almost by accident and as a litigant in person exposed and documented much of what you describe in both Central London County Court and the High Court. Through an extraordinary defence, I uncovered widespread fraud and systematic corruption that revealed how far our courts have strayed from their constitutional purpose and from the English people they are meant to serve. Throughout this long litigation nightmare, I have stood firm in my faith and refused to bow to tyranny, guided by the principle of my ancestors. Now, this is a quote. As long as 100 of us remain alive, never will we on any conditions be subjected to the lordships of the English. It is in truth not for glory, nor riches, nor honours that we are fighting, but for freedom alone, which no honest man gives up, but with life itself. End quote. The Declaration of Arbroath, 6th of April, 1320. My objection has never been to my English friends, but to subservience to Rome and to the unlawful erosion of our constitutional liberties. Even though I have prevailed in court, those exposed by my case are now working desperately to erase me and my evidence. They will stop at nothing to silence and discredit me. I would be deeply grateful for your help in bringing what has happened to me to light and in working together to defend and restore our shared constitutional freedoms. Yours sincerely, Derek Alexander Breckenridge. Now that's a message from the Scot, and that's the type of message that I absolutely appreciate and understand exactly what he's saying. The Declaration of Arbroath is Scottish, and people need to understand that the Magna Carta and the various acts surrounding it are English. But the Glorious Revolution brought us together. With the claim of right, the Scots have rights enshrined in law under our Constitution. And I will stand up and protect a Scot as much as I will an Englishman when they align with us. We are a brotherhood of nations. And people like Rupert Lowe need to understand that. Speak of England, speak of Scotland, speak of Wales, and speak of Northern Ireland. Everyone can see what happened to the Republic of Ireland when the Fabians rewrote their constitution in 1937. They rejected the common law. They administered the law of Rome. Now look at the state of that country. So tonight I will be talking through that. Thank you, and I will see you on the Full English Show at 8 p.m. And here I am. Let me see if I can pop myself on the screen. Hopefully you will see me. I bet I'm not on the screen. Am I on your screens? Listen, I know you don't want this ugly mug on there, but I thought I'd pop on there. I'm very grateful for Shane in Canning Town for giving us a shout out as well. People need to go and follow that fella and help him out as much as they can. He's in a dangerous situation where he is, let me tell you something. And there's some other things I'm going to tell you tonight as well, right? But I want to run through, and it is of paramount importance that everyone understands that this event, and again, I'm not associated with the leadership in central Devon, but I will be, if I get an opportunity, expressing to them that if 1 million Londoners were to leave London tomorrow and make their way to Devon, it wouldn't be Devon anymore. But the surrounding shires and counties in England didn't really help us out too much, did they? And it destroyed our culture. At least we're the same people. So someone has suggested something else is going on out there. That is an interesting thing that you've just said. I'm going to bring that up. Remind me about Jeff Taylor, because I've met Jeff Taylor. He vehemently does not, or did not, agree with an English Parliament, but even George Galloway now agrees with an English Parliament, because they realise that England has to take this nation back as the largest, millions and millions and millions of people. You've got more people in London currently, probably times at least 4 than the whole of Scotland, right? So people need to start to recognise that there is a pent up anger from the English, where we are being displaced, we are being discriminated against. I've had it on many occasions. And again, we're the people who've got to keep pushing this forward. Now, there is something that I want to say to people. It's a bit difficult without explaining the whole subject, but I am going to get someone on the show. His name is Brian Peed. He has wrote a book about another guy who is now deceased from Norfolk. And his name, tell me if you've heard this name, was Tony Martin. We had a very interesting conversation. He contacted me. So if you think people are not listening to us, think again. He's read both our websites and seen me on various things. And he said, you sound just like Tony Martin, right? He said he was a personal friend of mine. And I wrote a book that he was in effect innocent, right? Not just in effect, but the book shows that he was stitched up by the system, right? But one of the very interesting things that come about from that conversation is he mentioned a name to me. And he said that Tony Martin's uncle was a guy called Andrew Fontaine, who was, the family was well known in Norfolk. He was one of the founding members of the National Front. He was hated by the communists, and so was that family. Right? I want you to listen to what I'm saying. One of the things that Andrew Fountain did, he was kicked out of the Tory party for being too right-wing. Right? But one of the things that Andrew Fountain did was he founded a political party and a movement called the Constitutional Movement. And again, Tony Martin said to me, if you'd known Andrew Fountain, he was a real man. Didn't take any nonsense. And he expressed that I'm going to do a whole show about this. I'm going to get Brian Peed on the show to discuss his book. And one of the things he wants us to help him with is getting a posthumous pardon for Tony Martin, which I absolutely agree with. But the detailed conversation that we had and the names that I was putting through, when he told me what actually happened with that case, 3 cases come to mind immediately. I wrote them down as he was speaking. I didn't interrupt him. And I said, this reminds me of the Jeremy Bamber case. It reminds me of the Essex murders. And it reminds me of Lucy Letby, where the state itself has conspired against the subject of the realm to tell a pack of lies. They've used the media to promote those lies. And don't forget, the reason why I am open to these conversations is because it happened to me. In other words, where the police completely invent a crime, they lie in the court, they lie to the judge, they lie to the jury, they lie to the media, and they were assisted by the media, because if the media had even done a small part of an investigation, they would have found out that what was being said was a complete load of bollocks, right? So I am very much looking forward to speaking to this guy and sharing on this show, in our opinions, the multitude, and I believe he said over 40 points, which would bring in reasonable doubt. And if I was to tell everyone the story as it was told to me on the phone, I can't remember how long I was on the phone for him for, but it was quite some time. I actually said to Janet, I'm gonna make a very strange call now, and you'll start hearing things and you'll think that's a bit strange, because we're obviously talking about people being shot, people being killed, etc. So I just said, it's just because we're having this conversation. But the most important thing is, one of the things I want you to remember is the state, Tony Marty's uncle and dad and various other people were very staunch. Although they were British, they were staunchly common law constitution. They didn't understand the finer details as I do, right? And I'm not being disrespectful to them, but I find it very strange that Andrew Fountaine was his uncle, and he created something called constitutional movement. And if you remember Churchill stood in 1924 as an independent and as a constitutionalist, right? And the left, and in particular the communists that had taken control of the country, were attacking this Andrew Fountaine. There's something else very interesting about Andrew Fountaine. For those who follow the show and are deeply involved with the English Constitution Party, as well as the English Constitution Society, which is educational, Andrew Fountaine stood in a place called Chorley in Lancashire, right? Who stood as a constitutionalist in Chorley in Lancashire? There is something going on. I don't know what it is, but there's an alignment going on. And again, there are other things that I've read, and I don't know the full story about Andrew Fountaine. I'm only briefly giving you what I've seen. He was aligned with fascism. He fought on the side of he fought in the Spanish War, and he was aligned with fascists. But again, England forbids fascism, and England forbids communism. So I explained to Brian on the phone that I'm not a fascist and I'm not a communist. Under the English Constitution and the common law of England, both forms of governance are forbidden because they are authoritarian in nature. That's not the English way. The English way is you can ask us, but you do not tell us. And that's what I'm seeing in the background now. You're getting a rising up of that from the English. So I just want to make sure, just letting you know, we will be doing a show on that. And it will be interesting when it comes out, because I'm going to get him on live, discussing the information that he's got. It was a fascinating conversation. And what I said to him is, you haven't got to persuade me. So one of the things when you talk about, especially miscarriages of justice and the corruption of the state, because the first thing I said to him was, to me, it appears that the trial judge, his barrister, and he gave me the name of all of these people, and his solicitor, and they're all quite well known, were all corrupt. There was something else going on. And it appears that way. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that. But it's going to be an interesting conversation indeed, right? So don't forget, we have also got an English constitutional convention, which will consist of two parts. One is the English Constitution Party and the English Constitution Society in Mablethorpe, and that is on the 5th, 6th, and 7th of June at the Dunes Complex, which I'm sure people in our chat will be putting that out. We need as many people as possible to be there. And again, before I go into anything else, I'm going to make sure everyone's aware of this. If there is anyone watching this in Devon, Central Devon constituency, it's all started to come together. There will be an event, or the first branch meeting will be 7 p.m. And it is at Chagford Jubilee Hall. So if you're from Devon, I'm going to be going there. I want to emphasise to everyone, this isn't about me. This is about Devon, and this is about England. Although I will be interested to see how many of our group, because I know we've got quite a few people in Devon that will make their way there. So I do want to make sure that everyone goes to that event. And that's on the 26th of April, so 3 days after St George's Day. And hopefully you're all feeling very patriotic. And all we got to do is we got to emphasise the simple thing. This is about Devon and about England. We're not interested in anything else. We want people that represent the constituents of this area in that parliament. You air the grievances of the people. You don't go with all this, do whatever the party tells you to do, right? So in other words, there's no whips, which is unconstitutional and interferes with the proceedings of Parliament, which again is against the English Bill of Rights. Can everyone see and hear me? Don't forget, please share. Sharing is caring. It is only your contribution of sharing this information that is getting out there, and more people have started to understand there is a serious issue, right? The second thing I'm going to say to you is, if you're not subscribed, especially on Rumble, come over to Rumble. It's Daddy Dragon channel. It is actually called The Full English Show. If you search on there, Full English Show, Graham Moore, it will come up. And you just literally click the button. It's free. And then you can say you want instant notification, etc. But Rumble is the place to be. The British are trying to shut it down for a reason, right? And there's some very interesting things that are coming up at the moment. That said, subscribe and finally hit the like button. Whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on whatever your platform you're on, whether it's on Twitter, hit the like button, right? But again, I am seeing a lot of nonsense coming out, especially by Reform, saying that Rupert Lowe is going to resign as a member of Parliament. Rupert Lowe is going to do X, Y, Z. There is an issue currently, and it's about to be resolved, I believe, in the next few days. It may have already been resolved. I'm suspicious of some of these people promoting the idea that Rupert Lowe is going to stand down. He has a High Court case in the Royal Courts of Justice with reference to, and his arguments are based on the English Bill of Rights, and interfering with the proceedings of Parliament, and these groups of people that have been set up in such a way that they're not allowed to interfere with a member of Parliament. But I want everyone to understand that the ruling is supposed to be handed down about now, right? They said it will be 2 weeks into. and 2 weeks into, so we're nearly at 3 weeks into it. What's the date today? We're at 15th, so we're slightly overdue for it. There's a couple of suspicions I've got. Maybe the ruling's gone against him, and Reform and others have already been told, in which case that is a terrible situation if that has happened, because that ruling is completely confidential. Two, any sort of ruling like that will be embargoed until it's normally get about a week with it prior to it being handed down. But if there's any external influence on that, that needs to be investigated, because it means the judiciary and it wouldn't surprise me if someone to do with Reform, and they are crooked, has got hold of that information. But I am hoping he's won his case. He hasn't got to resign or anything like that if it goes against him. But I can see he could challenge everyone and say, right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to resign and be re-elected. That could happen, and they could do that to running aligned with the local elections, I think, which are on, if I'm not mistaken, May the 7th. I don't know, but people will come out in their droves and vote for him. Because everyone, as far as I know, everyone is supporting him in Great Yarmouth. And there's many good things that he's doing. But I can't see him resigning or doing anything like that. I don't believe he's got any ill health. And again, there's not a lot I disagree with what he says. Everyone should be aware I'm not a unionist. I believe in a common law union, but not statutory union. But everyone should understand where I'm coming from. Now, what I'm going to do now is cross over to, so I've done that one. I've shown you that. I'm going to show you this. I just want people to understand this. And I'm going to run it. This was put out by the Labour Party. But Tony Benn, I actually agree with this entirely. So I'm going to throw that one out there. And I'm going to run with this. So I want you to listen carefully to Tony Benn's words.
What power have you got? Where did you get it from? In whose interest you exercise it? To whom you're accountable, and how can we get rid of you? And if you can't get rid of the people who govern you, you don't live in a democratic system. What power have you got? Where did you...
Right, so hopefully everyone just saw that. Did you all see and hear what he just said? So again, Tony Benn was virulently against any form of identification like anyone would be in England. We do not identify ourselves to the state. They identify themselves to us. That is the way our system works. But we lived in a high trust society under the English common law. Now, we're about, in my opinion, to reverse decades, if not over 100 years, worth of corrupt subversion of the English Constitution. Right, so I'm just making sure everyone understands what I'm talking about. And again, there's many things that I want to show you. Let me see if I can get to some of these things. Now, this is another one I'm going to show you. I'll bring it up on the screen, and then we're going to have a little conversation. There's other things going on that I need people to understand. This is Rupert Lowe again, right? I'm going to bring it up there so everyone can see it. The only way to give the young British men and women their future back is to slash back on the suffocating parasitic state that is bleeding them all dry. Tax, student loans, endless rules and regulation. This is an attack on England, people. I'm not sure if you understand this, but Scotland doesn't have student loans, not in the same way. They don't have certain taxes in Scotland. They are a Roman law jurisdiction and a communist/socialist system. Let them keep far more of their money and then get the hell out of their lives. Well, I couldn't agree more, right? So what I'm going to do now is pull this up.
Not more state. It's you young people, unless you actually fight this, you never will buy a house.
Yep.
Because the way to solve this is not more tax, not more government, not more state. It's actually to cut taxes, cut the size of the state, and cut regulation. The regulators have become, they're completely out of control.
Yeah.
The lawyers are out of control. The rules, the licensing, all of the nonsense that is holding Britain back. You young people, unless you actually fight.
So he's telling everyone that the law and the lawyers are crooked. Now, if you go back in a particular book, which is this one, right? I'm going to take that off the screen. So if anyone thinks I don't align with what Rupert says, I do align with a lot of what he says. Regionalization, which they renamed and they have called devolution, is to destroy England. So England does not exist. That's why they say the United Kingdom, and they say the nations and regions of the United Kingdom, and they qualify Scotland as a nation, Wales as a nation, Northern Ireland as a nation, which soon won't be because it's going to be amalgamated into Southern Ireland. That's their intention. And most importantly, they then say the regions of the UK. They don't even say the word England because it is to destroy us completely. This book from 1795, right? It's an original. Is one of the ones I used in court, a treatise on the law of elections in all of its branches, written by, again, a lawyer. I just want to make sure everyone understands. It tells you in this book that we had a law that stopped barristers and solicitors becoming members of parliament unless they had left the profession for a minimum of 18 months, right? Because they knew how dangerous they was to fill up a parliament with a load of lawmakers that all they want to ever do is make fucking laws and regulations, right? They knew that. The 1911 Parliament Act was what created part of the nightmare we've got now. It was a massive subversion. It was pushed through by the Fabians and the Labour Party. And again, the change, the Jews Relief Act, the Oath Act, what they call the Oath Act, of 1868, again, caused a lot of problems for us. Now, when you start talking about the union as it is at the moment, we used to be a common law union. In effect, in 1603, there was a case, I think it was called the Calvin case. Now, I'm not sure I'd have to go back through my notes, where Sir Edward Coke ruled on whether a Scotsman had the same rights as an Englishman and vice versa. And he said, yes, they do, because there's a unification of the crown. So we didn't need a statutory union, and it is the statutory union that's done a lot of damage. And the statutory union was a conversion of a treaty. Now, a treaty in law is sovereign state to sovereign state. It is not sovereign to subject. And if you go and watch a short 5-minute video on YouTube with Thomas Massey, he explains that extremely well. Don't forget, he's a constitutionalist like me. And the only way in English law that you can bring a treaty into law, it has to go through the domestic law process. So then it becomes sovereign to subject, right? It sounds complex. It's not. It's simple. And that was the big mistake with the Acts of Union and its statutory form. If you really want to solve all the problems we've got and have a reset to the Glorious Revolution and to our Bill of Rights, bang, sorted, you abolish, void the Acts of Union. Scotland can do that. England can do that. Nigel Farage has run up there again, and this time he's literally being serenaded by the bagpipes because they are getting so much money from the English. Now, I can show you a video where Nigel Farage states on that video when he's having a discussion with an investor in the Brexit Party, right? A guy from Oxford University that's a billionaire, right, through pharmaceuticals, really. And what he says is we shouldn't be shoveling money over Adrian's wall, right? Again, I've got that video on this laptop. He is, without a doubt, one of the most corrupt people that I've ever encountered in British politics, right? Rupert Lowe is the complete opposite. Rupert Lowe has stated he is English. If you look up his company records, he says he's English and an English director. There's a drop-down menu where you can be British, English, Welsh, or Northern Irish. And he says, I am English. He's clicked the button to say I'm English. Now, I know people with political parties that have registered who say they're English, and they've clicked the British button, right? So it's really important to understand. He's made statements on Twitter to say that he is English. David Amis was English. He drove around on a horse as an English knight, right? So David Amis. He was murdered, and the state covered it up. And people should understand that anyone who talks about England and anyone who talks about the Constitution, in particular the Constitution, is absolutely annihilated by the communists in this country, which is why our message is not propagated. We rely on you, right, the audience. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands, whilst we have made a declaration, and it is not conditional, right? We offered the English Constitution Party that has a manifesto of the English Constitution in its entirety to Rupert Lowe, and we was ignored. Whatever the reasons are in the background, I'm not bitching about that, by the way, but certainly not. This is not about me, right? And I want the people that follow me, understand me, that they've seen me taken down on all the platforms, but you start to see a pattern. And the pattern is, if you start talking about the English Constitution, they will take you out. Rupert Lowe mentioned the English Bill of Rights in Parliament, right? And they took him out. The Conservative Party have got form, if you want to say that, for kicking people out. Anyone who started, for example, Andrew Fontaine, they said had made. This is going back in I think it was in the 1950s or 60s, it could have been 70s. Kicks him out of the Conservative Party because they allege his speech was anti-Semitic. Right? It's all bullshit. I am not, and I'm making this clear, I am not a Zionist. Right? I do not agree at all in any way or form with Zionism. Right? That does not mean I hate all Jews. In fact, the Jews that don't want Zionism, I lean towards them. But there's another group of Jews, right, that are just like me and you, right, and they're the people I really support. But they need to stand up. They need to start speaking out, right? The same as we have black and brown members of the English Constitution Society and the English Constitution Party, and they are being vocal that they support the English Constitution. That's what we're asking for, right? It's not difficult to understand, and that is what we're promoting. So don't forget, share as much as you can. It is funny that where did he live? Tony Martin lived in Wishbesh, I believe it was, in Norfolk. It was right on the edge of the Cambridge border and Norfolk border. Bobby A. Moore. Hello, Bobby Moore. How you doing, son? The English Constitution is like garlic to the vampires in Parliament. Funky tattoos. Exactly that. It is. And it's funny you should say that, because there was a fantastic meme that I put out today. I'm going to see if I can find it for you. And I'm going to show you this meme. What is that? What do you think of this? Is it good to go? I'll have a look at it. I'm going to find you. What's that one? You know, let's have a look and see. I'll read this out as we're speaking. Zionism, and again, I just want to make sure everyone understands this as well, right? When talking about someone like Tommy Robinson, he come from Luton, right? He's now an Irish citizen. He went and bought a guff in Spain, which is a communist country. People like Paul Falk bailed out completely. And he's pushing unionism, while he is completely safe in what he thinks he's safe in Spain, right? It's bullshit. And Spain has just allowed 500,000 immigrants, Spanish passports, which means they can travel to England, right? So to make sure, I'm going to show you this one, but there's one I really want to show you. Houses of Parliament. And on the left, you've got Scottish administration, regionalisation, Roman law rules, rules offer slaves, exactly. And in the British administration, regionalisation, Roman law rules, rules offer slaves, correct. If you haven't got rights and you only follow rules, which is what the British do, and you are in effect a legal fiction of British, English common law giving us our rights. It was the English who built this and who have been pushed out of Parliament, English soil, right? But there is something I particularly want to show you, and I'm going to show you the image. I've got to try and get a little square off over there. I was going to show something else there, but I won't. Hopefully, I will find this, right? Now, this meme is the absolute... I'll tell you something now. The person who created this meme absolutely gets it, right? There it is there. And I was thinking exactly, as I looked at it, you've got a wolf in sheep's clothing, but the wolf is not in sheep's clothing. It's in British clothing. It's got a British overcoat on. Look at his hat. The top of the hat is Soviet. But the regiment that wolf in British clothing is in is the Fabian Society. Can you see that image and understand that is exactly what we're talking about, right? That is everyone should understand exactly what's going on there, right? In that image. So let me try and explain something with this image on the screen, right? A silver bullet through the heart of that wolf would kill it stone dead, and it was never coming back. Consider that being voiding the Acts of Union. To abolish the Acts of Union, and that everything was ever created by that British Parliament, all of their laws are null and void with it, right? And I could argue this with James Eady, who gets £8 million a year from the government, right? When they refuse to pay me, I can argue that constitutionally, and I know I could win, right? But the other aspects of that is if you repeal some of the laws and you put a stake through his heart, at any time he can remove that stake, and at any time someone else could remove that stake, and all of the laws would come flooding back. All of the damage that the British have done to us would come flooding back. It is only a temporary stop. So the wooden stake through its heart is repealing the British Nationality Act of 1948, or not repealing it, sorry. Repeal, anything that you repeal can come back at you. All of the laws that was already law prior to that and stare decisis are still law, right? I've just told a lawyer on Twitter to Foxtrot Oscar and told him I consider you to be a traitor. And remember what happened to Lord Haw, right? That's how much we are rising. No disrespect to Wales, you're 3 million people. You've took the piss out of the English long enough, right? London itself is being destroyed, right, as we speak. It is only 36% English, right? So when you start to understand that 64% are foreigners, whether they be white, black, or brown, I'm not interested. But we, as a group of people, have been completely and utterly destroyed. Our culture has been destroyed. It was the capital of England. It is now a regional or devolved assembly of the European Union. And people need to understand that. Now, someone else earlier on today, do you all understand what that is? Do you all understand that image on the screen? And do you all understand exactly what that is? So let me come out of there because I'm going to say something else here. Someone else who says they followed me for years has sent me an email. I'm not going to say the person's name, only to say that she's female and she lives in Kent, around the Gravesend area. Worked for another particular or did things for another particular people. But she said something to me in an email this morning. Because she wanted assistance with the regionalisation issue and the devolved issue, and where it is that it says this and where it is that says that, right? She just wants me to drop everything and assist her, right? And then she actually said this to me in an email. If you really cared about England, you would do X, Y, Z, right? Then I blocked her on all her email addresses, blocked her on WhatsApp, and basically told her to fuck off, right? If anyone doubts my absolute commitment to England and starts playing silly fucking games with if you really cared about England, right? The fact that you are a thick person, the fact that you call yourself a researcher and don't understand the correlation between regionalisation and devolution, which is the same fucking thing, means you know fuck all, right? So I'm just telling you, if you ever want to get blocked and told to fuck off, is to question my commitment to England. Unlike silly people like you, right? I would end up dying for this country. I'm the only person that talks about the Constitution, and every fucker I've ever met or even look at in history that starts talking about the Constitution gets taken out of the game, right? Because it is what the communists absolutely seek to destroy, the common law constitution of England, right? And Scotland needs to understand, and the Scottish people need to understand, you have lost your country, right? Your own politicians have done that, not the English. You had a claim of right on the English Bill of Rights. You was protected by the Crown Union in 1603. You have been lied to by your own people, not by the English, by Scottish politicians that have lied to you. The Welsh is the same. And Jeff Taylor, his face was up here on a screen on an image where I showed that he and it had written right across him, treason, traitor, right? Jeff Taylor is the same. Now, all I'm saying is the English have got to stand up now. You've seen London destroyed. You have seen Yorkshire destroyed. You have seen Bradford destroyed. You have seen Manchester in the process of being destroyed. Liverpool is destroyed, right? So now they've started on Devon. Now they're starting on Norfolk. Now they're starting on Suffolk because it spreads out, right? There's some really good people in Kent, right? Andy the Cabby is 100% an English patriot. He is willing to learn. As a cab driver, he sat there and read law. I've passed him stuff and said, read that. And he's read it and understood it, right? bear in mind, I'll pull out Bart's and say, just have a read of that, and it confirms what you're saying. And he goes, bang, thank you, right? There's other people that could be doing that. But when you want to start talking about people like Tommy Robinson, that ain't a fucking Londoner, right? Comes from fucking Luton, right? Some 2 bob gaff up the fucking road. And all that man ever did was, what did he do? A little video. I've gone round to my Jewish friend. Fuck me. I ain't having any of this bollocks around Tommy Robinson. I will not go to the Kingdom, right? Fuck the United Kingdom. They are destroying England, right? It is the Union that is destroying England. You may not like my language. You may not like the fact that I express it in the way I'm expressing it, but I can tell you now, I will communicate my own views on this as a Londoner, a South Londoner, right? With who? With people in the north, with people in the west, with people in the east, and people in the south. Working class people with different accents that get it. And the thing is, Restore Britain needs to understand that your massive vote comes from working class English, the people that was destroyed and are being destroyed. It's as simple as that, right? Let me tell you something. I've got a lot of respect for Rupert Lowe. Do you know why? Because he ain't a fucking coward. He made his own fucking money. He's gone in there. He could have left this country and fucked off to Monaco. He could have fucked off to Australia. He could have fucked off anywhere he likes with his money in a great retirement, a bit like President Trump, and he didn't, right? It's a bit like me. I could have fucked off. I could have got in a yacht and fucked off. I could walk away from this country tomorrow, right? I didn't do that, did I? I moved to Devon because Devon is the second most crucial shire in England because of the Glorious Revolution. Devon is under attack. I've seen it with my own eyes. Oakhampton, not that far away from me, in Devon. What happened 6 weeks ago? Police raiding an house. A Pakistani, Muslim. What did they nick him for? Dealing in stolen guns and ammunition. Really? Why wasn't that on the BBC? And by the way, the BBC are calling it. Listen, everyone out there, right? Stop paying the BBC. Stop paying the BBC, right? They've just laid off 10,000 employees, right? It's working. Don't pay them. Don't give them $1. And when the police don't do, this is another way of dealing with the council tax, right? If you've ever reported a crime to the police and they haven't acted in the way you want and you're getting a bad service, just like a restaurant, there is a part on your council tax bill that says £200 for the police and fire brigade, right? Or policing, right? You send a letter to the council and say, this happened, this happened, this happened. I am not obliged to pay for bad service, right? Which is complete proper law. Tell them to fuck off. Go through the bill and say, I'm not paying for that, I'm not paying for that, I'm not paying for that, right? As long as you can stand up and say, this has happened to me, you don't have to pay it. If you have contacted the police, right, or you think it's such a bad service and they have given you a bad service, you are not entitled to pay them. Let me have a quick look. Taffy Pack. Right, I'm going to ask the audience, what do they think so far? Don't forget, sharing is caring. Anyone in Devon that is coming along to that meeting on the 26th of April, it's not far from me, so I will definitely be there, right? But it's not, I just want to emphasise this, it's not about me, it's not about us being disrespectful, it's not about, we're there to listen, and we are on our best behaviour, right? As we always are. DD, we're all behind you and Rupert Lowe. All we hope is that you're not taking us for a ride because you were locked up by the establishment. Sorry, but it's a big deal, mate. What's that, Ulchard? All right. Do me a favour. Block that idiot. There is someone called Utrecht the Great. Block him and fuck him off. Holly England. Neil 56. They will probably force me to pay tax. Let me have a look. I hope that person is now blocked completely. Just take him off. I don't know what Eramus but Starmer signed up for. The EU apparently that will not have fully back in a cesspit sooner or later. What's that about Jesuits? Jesuits are not nice people. Let me have a quick look. Exactly that. Those who count the votes are the ones that, and again, that is typically communist. Massively communist. Right? And these people are communists as well. Let me have a quick look. Let me see if I've got to go on a slightly different. Let me have a look and see if there's anyone. I've got two looks today. George Custance. Oh, look, someone's just sent me a thing. Rebecca. Hello, darling. Right. Got two lookbooks today. George Custance and Sir Matthew Howe. I have tried 2 times now for Rumble to go through all the questions, but no verification email. No worries. There is a lot more. Just let me ask. Did you... Wow. Right. The problem that you have, and I'm not being disrespectful to people that are watching this on YouTube, you get a lot of trolls and a lot of pricks on YouTube, right? It's a bit like Facebook, right? And people don't understand that Facebook was created out of a CIA Operation LifeLog, and when they took down Operation LifeLog on the very same day, they launched Facebook, right? The CIA did, right? It is all controlled. Let me have a look. DD, can I still can I, DD, what's that saying? DD, can I still write ICE reverse right even local elections, or does that not apply to national? No, that applies to any election. I do not consent Ashby versus White 1703. It is your absolute right to write that on the document. And what they don't, and the reason why they don't like you doing that is because that is a constant, there's a massive ruling on it, which I could bring up and show you on the show and go all the way through it, and you would go, wow. That's why they don't like people saying it. Okay. Yeah. What we don't want are complete idiots. Listen, we're a good group of people. We're a friendly group of people. And what I see with trolls is they often say things, and they say it in such a... I've seen this on UNN networks. He reads out all the comments, right? And I think to myself, do you think I'm that stupid? Yeah, follow me if you can on X. It would be helpful. Right. Any questions from this wonderful audience? And again, I'm going to ask the question again because I didn't see any of the answers coming up. Right. Foreigners in English Council is a bad problem. Yeah, it is indeed. Right. I'm going to ask you this question. It's a simple question. Right. What was the question I just asked you? It's a simple question. I forgot. Fuck me, my brain's gone. I didn't see the answers to the other question. What was the question I asked you? The internet was clearing that up, but there's no going to vote for in. Don't listen to AI, by the way. Right? AI is exceptionally dangerous unless you know how to write things, or you can. So one thing you can do with AI is you could put into it a whole PDF document and say, I'm not interested in external opinions of this. I'm only interested in a strict legal opinion of what this says. The same as the parts that have been taken out of the English Bill of Rights illegally. Let's not kid ourselves. All the internet goes through Oracle systems worldwide. Larry Ellison has full access to anything online. It doesn't matter. And Palantir is actually run by the grandson of... Palantir is run by the grandson of Oswald Mosley. That doesn't mean he's a fascist, by the way. In fact, he's the grandson, could be a fucking communist. I would agree, it's pretty wild. Graham, do you remember teaching us about how Hull was meant to be the capital of England? So Hull, I don't know about meant to be, unless I've read that somewhere, but Hull, if you go to Hull, you will see the Prince William, you will see, in other words, Prince of Orange. There's a pub there. I think there might even be a street there. You've got Victoria Square. But Hull in itself had the most advanced telecommunication system in England, far more advanced. There was another telecommunication thing in London called Colt, which was I think it was called City of London Telecommunications, right? It was a sort of a rival to BT. It was a rival to BT. There was another one. I could go through them all, but to cut a long story short, it was owned by the people, and the council decided, wrongly in my opinion, to sell it off. Disgusting what they did with that. When I say it was an advanced network, it was advanced. I mean, don't forget, system engineering is my thing. I'm a system engineer first and foremost, right? So law, telecommunications, data communications, system engineering is what I drill down into, right? If I see, even if I was building an eco house, I would look at the system of how I was doing it, to give you the benefit of it. Or, yeah, telecommunications. More like Silly Billy. What's that? I don't know what that is. Daddy Dragon, could you please repeat whereabouts in Devon the Restore meetup is, please? Thank you. I can indeed. Listen, the full address is in the description, right? So the full address is in the description. Not sure if it's in. So let me just see if I can bring it up on here. I'll have to come and get it. Let me have a look. Content. Pull it up on there and see if I can find it. So all of it's on there. Let's cut myself off of that. It's at 7 p.m. Jubilee Hall, Chagford, Newton Abbot, Devon, TQ. So Tango Quebec 138 Delta Papa. Right, so TQ13 8DP. And if you want me to stick that in the chat, I will do. Let me see if I can whack that out there. And what I'm going to do is put that back on the screen so you can see it again. Here it is I've put it in there so everyone can see it. Hopefully you can see that there. And that is, so again, I've entitled this video, and I will talk about that. But there are other things coming up, and we are going to be massively promoting because there's things that I'm going to be doing during the, if you want to call it a convention. We're bringing both lots together, and there's going to be discos there, etc. I still ain't booked my fucking accommodation up there, which I will be doing. Danny Dragon, could you please repeat whereabouts the Devon is in Restore meetup? DD, can you use nullfield cases in the Crown Court? What's the nullified cases? Can you use nullified cases in the Crown Court? Not 100% sure what you're talking about there. Got 2 law books today. George, Constance, what else has come up there? Any other questions you want to ask me? So it's on the screen. You can stop the video. I'm not sure. I can't blow that up now, but I could actually blow it up if I did it a different way. Let me see if I can do that for everyone. Let's see if that works. Let's see if that's the one that I want to blow up. There it is. Let me put it up. There it is. I'll blow it up and put it on your screen. How's that? There we go. Let's put it on your screen. Share. Oh, it's gone pear-shaped on me. Why has it gone pear-shaped? No, not that. You donut. Let me take that off. Take that off. I need to go and have a look at that one. Have a look at that one. Why is that doing that like that? I ain't got a clue. Window. Oh, hang on. Let me see if it's a different one. Oh, there it is. I found it. I do apologise. There it is. Right. So there it is. And it is Sunday, the 26th of April, 2026 at Chagford, Jubilee Hall. Doors open at 7 p.m. Get there for 7 p.m. And I want if anyone can get there, it'd be really helpful. We're not there to listen. We're aligned with Restore Britain, Restore England, Restore Devon. That's what we listen. If you restore the English Constitution, we would solve most of our issues almost immediately, right? So that's all I'm going to say to people. I'm now going to stop that share, go back to that. I am going to say good night, God bless. There's a lot more I was going to talk about, but I don't want to be sitting around too much. Good night, God bless. Thank you for all of your support. Without you, I couldn't do this. And don't forget what I believe. The Constitution is the solution. And remember, this little book here, Select Statutes, Cases and Documents to Illustrate the English Constitutional History, right? People need to understand, right, all of these problems were solved by our ancestors. All we've got to do is keep going, right? So good luck to everyone out there. Good luck to Holly England. Good luck. Luke, 1956. It was nice talking to you again today. Oh, and I spoke to Kim and Paul, who live right not far from here. So we're going out sometime soon for a meal with them. I may be going to another little pub right on the moors. Might take a little tent with me. Right. Good night, fella. Funky tattoos. Good night. God bless to everyone. Keep going. And don't forget, sharing the English Constitution Society Maplethorpe seminar is really important because we've really got to get people there. Grasshopper, how you doing? Don't forget to give as much assistance to our colleague and friend up there. You know exactly where I'm talking about. I'm telling you now, we can do this, but working class people, tradespeople, Sparks, everyone out there, listen, if I had my way, we would be instituting in full the Hong Kong tax system, 200 pages, and taking out all the regulations and say, right, now let's go to work, right? Let's take the country back. Let's create wealth again, and properly go to work. Right, that's it. Good night. God bless to everyone. Tiddly poo and all that.